All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sketchcraft Comics and Books. This is where we just talk about some comics or some art books. In this case, it's going to be comic books. If you're familiar with the formats of shows like Comics Kayfabe or the Comic Binge, then, you know, it's like that. But the big difference is you got me and Mega Potato. Say hi, Brandon. Say hi.
Hey, everybody.
Brandon is also known as Mega Potato. Right, Brandon?
That is me.
That's right. That's right. So what are we going to talk about today, Brandon?
I haven't the slightest clue.
Probably would help if I actually shared the screen with you.
That comes in handy. Oh, snap. Now I know what we're talking about.
All right, Brandon, what are we talking about?
Talking about the almighty Spawn.
All right, so we're talking about some Spawn here, Spawn comic books. Specifically, kind of like issue 45, but there's a reason for that. But I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the color of the Spawn book. So Spawn started off, Todd McFarlane, you know, created Spawn, drew and inked it when it started, but the colorist was Steve Oliff. This is issue 13. It's one of my favorite covers, if not my favorite cover, probably.
Okay.
It's just so different, right? This is when Spawn revealed him. We found out Chapel was the guy who killed him, Chapel from Youngblood. And Steve Oliff was the initial colorist for Spawn. And I first came across his colors in Legends of the Dark Knight, which was an anthology series that DC produced, and it was colored normally in a very four-color process. But then one day, I don't know how I got a hold of it. My buddy must have had an issue, and I looked at the colors. I think Tim Sale drew the book, and it was like, this just looks different. I don't know what it was. Blew my mind. It was just like, I'm a stickler for color, Brandon, as you know, right?
Yes.
So really popped out to me as being different. So when I finally went to Comic-Con in 1992, I started asking around who the Steve Oliff guy was. Coincidentally, he was coloring Spawn. So he wasn't there, but people would tell me he digital colors, blah, blah, blah. I became a big fan. Now, something magical happened, though, around issue 25 of Spawn. Issue 25 of Spawn was part of this thing called Image X Month. You ever hear that, Brandon?
No.
So Image X Month was this kind of an event they did at Image where the 7 founders all traded a book for a month, right?
Okay.
And so Mark Silvestri drew Spawn, and Todd McFarlane drew an issue of Cyberforce. Jim Lee sort of drew an issue of Savage Dragon. He's credited, but there's a lot of people who think Richard Bennett drew it. And if you look at it, you probably see Richard Bennett's art, and there's, you know, more than Jim Lee. All right, hey, folks, you enjoying the show? You having fun? Ashley, did you know if people like my art, they can go somewhere and buy some art? Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where can they go?
Of course you don't know. No one knows.
How many places?
Well, I used to be on Etsy, but now I got my own store, shopsketchcraft.com. So I was on Etsy for the longest time. Matter of fact, I left it up. So if you guys want to know, can we trust you shipping things? All my reviews are here, and look, they're all 5-star reviews. Like, they're all 5-star reviews. It's like 300 of these are all 5 stars.
Reviews are where it's at, folks.
I don't pay for those reviews. I assure you, I don't have the money. But I just started making my own store because Etsy was taking 40% of my sales, and they weren't even bringing me any. It was all you folks supporting me. Then they took your money. So it's like, hard to ask people to support you, Ashley, and then Etsy takes the support, right?
Yeah.
So again, if it's shopsketchcraft.com, I got prints right now. Right now it's just turtle stuff, but I'm importing everything, right, as we go. And so by the time you guys watch this, it'll probably all fold up. Now, I'll let you know my prints are a little on the pricey side, but I don't really make much money. I make maybe $10 on a $60 print. That's how crazy shipping's got, Ashley. So
oh my god.
So
and these are like this is like Ninja Turtles like through the years too. This is like over the course of like what, 10 years? Or maybe not that long. But
I did this one. I did this one in 2009.
Yeah. Even more, 15 years.
Yeah. Almost. And actually, I drew this one like you do. This is actually cut right here. It's 2 pieces in half. Right? Yeah, this is actually, that's how I used to work. All in pencil.
Yep,
I don't do that no more, Ashley, because I went through my psycho phase. So
yep, I'm totally in the psycho phase right now.
I know. Anyways, folks, if you want to support the show, go there. I'm going to have my original art up on there. I got a newsletter, so I'm not going to bug you with that. It's really just a way to show you what we're doing and then to give you coupon codes and stuff in the future. And eventually when I do commissions, they'll be available here as well. So please go check out shopsketchcraft.com. Rob Liefeld did an issue Shadowhawk in a very Frank Miller-y Chiaroscuro sort of Sin City style. It's kind of different. It's weird. And then Jim Valentino did an issue of Youngblood, which has the best Youngblood story, by the way. The art is, but the story was great. It made me think at the time, man, Valentino should have been writing Youngblood from the beginning, and Jim and Rob should have been drawing, obviously. But and Eric Larson did an issue of Wildcats, which is the most Jack Kirby issue of Wildcats you can.
Yeah, I bet. That sounds pretty wild.
Yeah, but this is the cover to issue 25 of Spawn that Sylvester drew. But something's a little bit different here with the colors, Brandon. Can you see the difference?
Oh yeah.
Is there something different between these two right here? Let's just move 45 out the way, right? And matter of fact, let me show you issue 26. Right?
What?
And then let's look at issue, which, this looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
What does this look like?
That looks amazing. Just look at the painted looking background, the glows, even the logo has like a bit of a glow gradient to it. There's rim lighting on everything that really pops. Like that, it looks beautiful. It looks painted.
So much so, let me zoom in here, folks. So much so, I feel like this looks brand new.
Yeah,
even by today's standards.
Oh yeah.
Even by now, some purists out there, Brandon, would tell you overcolored. I beg to differ.
Not at all.
Not to. And so this is where issue 26 comes along. And so what's the difference? The difference is a colorist called Brian Haberlin. Brian Haberlin, who was at the time coloring Cyberforce. He kind of took over for Joe Chiodo and them, and he was using Photoshop. This is a Photoshop book. This was done on custom software, as far as I know. There was a custom software, all the optics Steve Ol's company had, that was sort of made for coloring comics, which is really cool because you got all these kind of step effects that can't be done today anymore in a way. But this is where Photoshop comes in. This blew my mind. The use of now this is like sort of an homage to The Dark Knight Returns in a way, right? But it has these glows, the orange and blue skyline, and I was like, it felt like light was being used rather than color.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. And if we open this up here, you could sort of see. Let's get some of these colors here. Zoom in a little bit. So like it just has like a real slick, moody, colorful. I mean, when I think of a mainstream comic, this is sort of what I'm imagining in a lot of ways. Look at these little fog effects and stuff, just things that weren't being done a lot at the time, which I think complements the line work a lot. Like it was just done real tastefully, and there's still really good cuts and grads, like steps in the eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brian Haberlin stepped up, and I immediately was like, this dude is amazing. Now, I don't want to be one of these guys who like just trades up for the new dude, right? And then some guy that shows up with a new style. But I was confused as to like why Steve Oliff, like, no offense, he's Greg Capullo. I mean, this book is colored well. It's solid design, but it's not, something is a little bland with the colors, dude. It's a little, can't describe what it is. From what I understand and what was described to me at Con, and most recently, if you dig up past episodes of Rob Liefeld's podcast, Robservations, there's ones where he talked about colorists, and he was talking about Steve Oliff, and he said that a lot of Steve Oliff's talent left to do their own studios. Like Christian Lickner, I think, was in there, and Ruben Rude and all these guys. And I feel like that talent kind of like a talent right now. This by no means is bad. Matter of fact, this coloring is better than 90% of the books being produced today. So
Yeah.
I would gladly take this. I mean, look, let's be honest. Kulo's line work, it's kind of helping too, right? I mean, he's just a brilliant
You can lean on
illustrator.
that. You can lean on that real
Right.
well.
And it doesn't have, like, you don't see him overusing rim lights like today. Like, I'm not a fan, no offense. I don't know these people, but like the hi-fi color guys, I'm not a fan of that super rim light glow. You know, I do like some color theory and color design in the comics. But yeah, so this blew my mind. So compared to this, you know, like with this cool, look at this cool purple sky, like pink clouds and purple moons, and just there's just a glow to it, something really special. I think that's about it. So this blew my mind. By the way, these are all my issues from high school. These are my issues. You go, Rob, why don't they in bags? I'm like, because I never kept them in bags.
Yeah, they've been through the wash. They've been taken out, looked at, played with.
Yeah, this is high school damage. You know, this is sitting there at my desk looking at it. Right. So why issue 45? So Haberlin took over as colorist full time with issue 43. All right, but issue 45 is the special one, and I'll tell you why. But I mean, already look at this like Photoshop glow effect.
Oh yeah,
right. Like this is. Let me zoom in here. I mean, like I don't see anyone doing anything like this today. You know, some people would say that's too much, but I'm like, that actually is cool. It's painted glows over the line art. You know, like there's an effect there that I think enhances. I mean, I wouldn't want that on every page, but even
it's got a nice transparency too on the glow, where it's not just laid over top of the cape. It's like you still see the cape through it.
Yeah. So, and I actually met Brian Haberlin once at Comic-Con, I want to say 95, 96. He actually brought he was coloring this on a Mac, a big Mac and a giant Mac. And I was like, you brought your computer. So I was just, how do you do this? And how do you do that? And how do you do this? You know, and he told me a few things, Brandon. He told me a few things. Like, I know how these glows were done. And will I tell you folks? Yeah, I'll tell you folks how it was done. So if you go into Photoshop and you set your Photoshop layer to color dodge, right? But if you double click on the layer in Photoshop, there's a thing called transparency. You're going to see a little box that says set transparency layer or something. Uncheck that. And then click OK. And when you then do glows on the color dodge layer, you're going to get some much better effects. Just letting you know. Little nifty trick. But this issue now, story wise, it's kind of weird. It's like they were introducing a new angelic character, right? Because there's a whole issue with Angela at the time,
right?
But then Spawn kills her, so Tiffany doesn't last more than an issue. So it's like I didn't really get it. I'm like, this is the new Angel, but then he kills her. But that being said, I mean, look, it's pretty dope fucking layouts, dude. Like,
oh yeah.
But look at like this, the glows on the swords and stuff, dude. You know, like.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It really has great energy about it.
Like, look here too. Like, even when she hits, you know, got like the way he does the glows. Like, I'm really big on, like, I don't want to it doesn't overpower the image.
No,
you know, like the dude just really had that comic popness. Like, you know, like he knew how to still use colors and at the same time add some pizzazz. But it's just awesomely drawn comic. And look, I love this stuff too. Like the way Capullo would set up, just from an art standpoint, like he would just draw normal stuff. This is my favorite kind of stuff to draw. People sitting on couches,
right?
You know, like I really like this sort of thing. Sam and Twitch, I could just read whole. They're my favorite. Sam and Twitch are my favorite, and I've never been able to ask. I wouldn't ask Todd this. You know, I do kind of know Todd McFarlane a little bit, and we'll get to that in a while. But I always felt like these characters were based off two characters that appeared in the Shadow reboot that Bill Sienkiewicz drew. And because there's a guy named Twitchowitz, which looks just like Twitch. And there's a big guy named Burke or something, which is like, looks just like Sam and Twitch. They look just like Sam and Twitch, man. And they're the like people who help the Shadow. And I was like, are they based off that? And I don't know. I imagine
I would trust your gut on that one.
Yeah, but I doubt I would ever get that. I don't know. You never want to bring that up to someone and then they never talk to you again because of it. So,
Right.
you know, look at this. Look at this, dude. So this is like, first off, you need all this stuff that Capullo drew and that McFarlane inked, and Danny Miki like jumped in on this issue. So you need the lines to sell this. Okay.
Yeah.
Like this can't just be done in color. But then this use, it feels like light. And I try to describe it. It reminds me of, you ever see the movie Poltergeist?
Yes.
So back in the day when they used to like do glows and effects optically, means in camera. Like if you look at the opening to Masters of the Universe, the He-Man cartoon or Transformers, they would do glows and they felt like they were really alive because they weren't Photoshop filters. They were actually they would create a series of masks like cutouts, and they would shine light through them against a black background and then optically layer them over. So you actually get the glows were real light back in the day. And this was the closest I felt like I was seeing like real light, you know, because there's bloom, you know, in here, like there's bloom band. And I mean, I don't know. I just, to this day, I still love it, man. Maybe just because well, you know, Rob, you looked at it when you were a kid. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like if this book were brand new, am I wrong, Brandon? I mean, like,
no,
you can disagree with me.
No, I mean, which I love to disagree with you all the time, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
No, like everything about like the way he's doing the glows, it really just pops, and then you have the dark inked lines that keep it like a great contrast, which I like a lot. I love when you have a great contrast of things. Like the older I get, and I try to be better at art, I like when there's a good contrast of like, okay, there's hard lines and hard inks, but then you have these really cool glows that seem cinematic on the page, where even the wolf's eyes, where it's got that just nice red to pink glow on them, you know, it just looks cool because they didn't have
like
that.
a bunch of rim over, you know, now they probably go over the line and they've had a ton of rim lights. And
there'd be rim,
you know,
there'd be red on the inside of his ears glowing off it, everything. It would just be overdone, or they, you know, lightly airbrushing the glows off the cheeks and everything like that. But it doesn't need that. It's just the dark ink bodies, and the same with the bear. It's like the dark black inks, and then you got the nice red glowing eyes, and it's not overglowed, but it's just enough to just pop out those eyes. We're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So this was like, it was tough, man, because at the time, I mean, like, this is 1994 or 5, right? 5, March of 95. So, or 96, March of 96. So, like, just go open up a Batman comic in March of 96 and get back to me. You know, like, let's see what those look like. Go open up a Spider-Man comic in March of 96 and get back to me. Like, even, this was just the best looking comic being produced at the time, monthly, in my opinion. I stand by it to this day. But I just love all these layouts, you know, like I never get tired of looking at the way he like overlaps a panel. Like he takes a panel, puts it over this, and then puts this behind, and this is actually back of the page, and this is over it. A lot of stuff people could learn from old Greg Capullo, you know, like over the shoulder establishing, and then, you know, like they just read like storyboards, man. His visual design and storytelling, I mean, very Will Eisner, you know, like, but dynamic. Yeah, he killed Tiffany. I was like, well, what was the point? What was the point, Brandon? I don't know. I'm confused by that. But Wanda looking pretty hot right there.
Why is she in her underwear?
Hey man, you know your audience, brother. No, you know your audience, you know. So, you know. But Brandon, why would I make this issue the one-eyed shot? Well, let me show you why. So this is the letters column, right? And the letters column, there's right here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom way right there. Let's see if I can change the focus. There we go.
Boom.
Got it. So it says, being that I've read your comics since the very beginning, which was my freshman year, and now I'm a senior, I guess you could say I've sort of grown up with Spawn. So it really bugs me when I hear that you're going to make a Viking Spawn and not even a shred of decency to think of Sam and Twit figures. Come on, McFarlane. Don't even think these guys wouldn't sell. I've been reading your message board for a long time now, and lots of people would love to get those too if you would just make them. Trade them and fly them right. Later, Robin 586.aol.com or at AOL.com, however that worked out. That's me, Brandon.
All right.
See, old Todd set up Spawn.com, and I happened to be running the computer lab my senior year in high school, and I immediately went on there to complain that there were no Salmon Twitch figures. And so
rightfully so, as you should.
Todd or the editor, whoever, replied, "You have spoken and I have listened. I currently have Salmon Twitch in the design stage and the schedule to come out with next spring's assortment, January 1997. Though you might be interested in current plans calling for both of them to be packaged together for the same price as one of our elaborate figures. We'll be getting price quotes on this soon, but if it is possible, then the two detectives will be sold much like their relationship is in the comic book, inseparable. Unfortunately, one of the things we must deal with in the toy business is that the collectors don't buy every figure I produce, which they don't. I'm far better off having a figure that looks like Ninja Spawn left on the shelves for the public's consumption than a Wander Twitch figure. At this point, the public is then buying the product based on whether or not it looks neat instead of who the character actually is." He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, not wrong.
Yeah, I know, but I got my way, buddy. I got my way. So why am I bringing it? I'm bringing this up because Brandon, it was announced at Comic-Con this year that I will be drawing a Spawn miniseries. Spawn kills every Spawn. Spawn kills every Spawn, and I'm gonna show you the cover art right now. Right? Give me a second.
Oh shit! Do it.
Hey Brandon.
Yeah.
You enjoying the video so far?
Always.
Well, did you know I have a YouTube channel with like 1,000 other videos?
1,000?
Like, sadly so, I think. I just wanted to remind everyone out there watching the show. Just if you check out the rest of the Sketchcraft channel, you can see that I got art. I got art tips. We got speed vids with audio commentary. I walk through my art. If you do color pencil, if you do watercolor, you do pen and ink, you do digital. I got it all. I got art tips, right? I got like perspective, digital inking tips. I also have 1,000 real-time live streams. So if you ever see me working on something and you're like, hey, how did I let's go check this out, Brandon. Let's go see me.
Yeah.
Here's me recently doing the Apocalypse commission, right? Doing a little marker rendering here.
All right.
It's a little inking going on there. You can see me inking, right? I think you were there that night.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was chatting with you.
Yeah. So you can always come back and go, how did you, I want to do that. How did he do? And you can see right in real time, if you can dig in there. Now, Brandon, we don't expect everyone to watch these videos all the way through for hours and hours, but it is a free resource. It's sitting there waiting to be discovered. Right, Brandon?
If it's free, it's for me. That's what I say.
Right. Also, Brandon and I, for years, we did a podcast. I want to say like 4 or 5 years. All those are in there too. If you ever want to hear Brandon and I just wax poetic about whatever. And then I also did a podcast from 2010 to 2014 with tons of like career help things. So if you're like, Rob, I need some career guidance and help and I don't know, all that other bullshit, go check that out there because I don't really like helping people anymore. Right, Brandon?
Not at all.
Not at all. Is there anything that you appreciate on the old
I appreciate that there's 1,000 of it and it's free, that I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to do anything crazy, that it's all here. And if I want to be like, hey man, how do I use a Copic marker? Bam. How do I use some watercolor? No. Bam.
I'm not against giving me money. So right here, right at the top, you can click that little link, go to ko-fi.com/sketchcraft. Give me some money. I'll go buy a coffee. Ooh. Or if you go to shopsketchcraft.com, you can buy a print when I have them up. Right now, the store is closed for the winter, but in spring, we'll open back up and we'll have prints in there. You can get all that stuff, right? But other than that, go check out the YouTube channel. All right, Brandon, let's get back to the show.
Let's go.
And Brandon, here we are. This is the
cover snap.
Spawn Kills Every Spawn. Issue 1, colored by Robert Nugent at rnugent, Nugent colors on Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky, I guess. I'll put a link in the description, right? So now, folks, I'm gonna show. This is the only image that's been officially released. So when it comes to line art or process or anything else, that'll be later. We'll get into all that as we get to it. But for now, I can at least show you the cover art that I drew, inked, and old Robert colored here. So this is a Chibi Spawn, and he's basically, Todd said it at San Diego Comic-Con, and the video's up on the McFarlane comic books Instagram page. You can like watch his speed. But eventually he's just going to go around and go after all the big spawns, and then he'll turn them into little spawns, and then there'll be a big fight and everything. So it'll be fun. But
That'd be epic.
Speaking of toys, Brandon, this is based off the first wave Violator truck. So the first wave of Spawn toys that came out in '93, there was a Violator truck. It's really weird. I was
Only you would know that.
Truck, yeah. But it didn't have horns on the side sticking out like Violator, and it didn't have a big tongue. And so the next year at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, I went to their booth, and this is when they had the early maquettes up, the sculpt for the Youngblood figures that they were doing, like the Badrock and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And at the time when they were making toy figures, those figures were sculpted at twice the size of the figure. So the Malboja was there, the Badrock, and so the Malboja was 15 inches as a toy. The sculpt was 30 inches. So I thought that was the size of the toy. I was like, holy, this is gonna be the biggest toy ever made.
Yeah.
But I went over there complaining that this truck needed like a tongue, and this older woman was working the booth. She did not want to hear that from me. Like, she's like, you're like too old for this stuff. It's meant for kids. Yeah. I'm like, oh my, I didn't see kids in that toy at Walmart buying it.
Right.
You know. So I thought it'd be fun to try and incorporate that on the cover, and maybe it'll appear in the book. We'll see, huh? We'll see, Brandon. Can't really talk about it. This is a little addition I made though. I've always wanted to give Spawn a little bat buddy called Buddy. This is Buddy. This is Buddy. So he's got little skull guns and stuff. So he's as familiar like Alfred's servant or Woodstock, right? Like Snoopy and Woodstock, or Calvin and Hobbes, or Rick and Morty, I guess. Less than that, but more like Bruce and Alfred. So there you go, Brandon. There's the cover.
Is dope.
So,
and
go ahead.
No, I really love the colors on it. Like, speaking of colors from the other ones, but like even the way oddly enough, my favorite part of the colors on this is the smoke clouds, where like on the far right by the chains, if you zoom in, there's like that orange on the inside, yellow on the outside, kind of shape painted colors on it. Like it really just stands out. Like the way he colored it really does well with your lines and your shapes, and I dig it.
Yeah. And I got real specific too. I was like, I want it like this, and I want the blood spatter to be like that, and I want the glows to be like this. Just like I complained about in the book.
Yes.
To him. So, we'll get as much as I can. Like there's only so much you can do, when you tell someone, please, for the love of God, do it like this, But Robert's he's a really good dude, man. He puts up with my junk and my pickiness, but I'm super happy. So there's not much more to say than I finally, after all these years, Brandon, will have a Spawn comic.
That's crazy when you think about it, man. Like as far as full circle goes, that you went to Comic-Con as a kid, like, hey, I love this thing, and now you literally are an adult, and it's announced at a Comic-Con that you are going to be part of the Spawn legacy. That's forever. That's pretty dope.
And when I say I really did go to Comic-Con just for Spawn mostly, and Savage Dragon, although Eric, he less and less had a presence there. The last time he had a booth, he sold these Savage Dragon t-shirts, and I bought one. They're really hard to find. My buddy stole it. It was like a long sleeve. Just had like the fin in the center and then like Savage Dragon on the back. And I was like, that shirt's impossible to find. I was like, why did you steal my shirt, man?
That sounds like a very good friend.
But Todd's booth Spawn was my jam. So Spawn, Bone, Savage Dragon, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. And then I like the extreme stuff and everything, but those booths, like at the time, man, like Wildstorm or Homage, what Jim Lee's boot, stuff and extreme, they were like, there were so many artists that worked for them that they were just too crowded with people. Like the Spawn booth, it was like either Todd was there or Greg was there, or they weren't, and then people kind of like would move around,
Yeah.
So I would just hang out, and like when Brian Haberlin wasn't at that booth, he was at the Top Cow booth at the time, but I just bugged the hell out of him. So, but yeah, man, I'm like I said, it's super dope, dude, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it. There isn't a release date yet, but there will be, and I will be promoting the hell out of it as we do more comic books and stuff, right? Sketchcraft books,
Yes.
comics and books or whatever. Which, by the way, the reason why I'm doing this, like talking about comics and art books and stuff, is because I just can't stream, and I haven't been able to stream a lot of my art. But I have recorded a bit, not everything I've been doing, but I've recorded some of the good stuff and covers I recorded. So videos will be going up with audio commentary as we get closer, so I can promote and blah 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 blah
Nice.
blah. At least all the drawing, right? So,
Oh yeah.
but you know, Brandon, when they go, Rob, can you draw backgrounds? Well, you're gonna find out, right? You saw a background recently, maybe, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It was pretty epic. It's nothing. I honestly, I don't think I could ever do it.
Why would you make me do this, Rob? Why?
He's like, dude, I gotta get sleep. Why would you do this to me?
Yeah, so super dope, dude. But this is what I've been doing for the past year. It's why I've been silent a bit on the channel, because I've just been busy working on this. So it'll be 5 issues. When it ships, it'll ship monthly until it's done. And hopefully, folks, if all is well, we'll get to do more. So that's that. All right, Brandon. You're not anywhere on the internet right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram at Mega Potato Show.
Yeah, you can find Brandon on Mega Potato Show, even though he doesn't really do a show on Instagram.
Mega Potato was taken, so I had to add the show.
Mega Potato was taken.
I'm changing it. I'm changing podcast. I'm changing it to just be Mega Potato or something. I don't know.
Real Mega Potato, Brandon. I told you, always put real. So, yeah, just like Ghostbusters. Remember, Ghostbusters was trying to do a cartoon in the 80s, but there was another Ghostbusters from the 70s that was a live action show, and they went and did a cartoon based off the movies. Not based off the movie, but because the movie was a success. It featured like a gorilla and 2 old dudes in a jalopy. It was real dumb. And so, yeah, it's really bad, bro. Look it up. And so when the Ghostbusters we know needed a cartoon, they just called it the real Ghostbusters, and that ended that. It's genius, right?
Well, just look for Mega Potato. Just look for Rob's page. I'm on there.
Yeah, when you see the potato, you know.
You just know.
All right, everybody. Until next time. See you later.
Bye bye.